Hello, future officers. Welcome to another session in which we will study about a very important topic that is there in current affairs, right? But वो topic क्या है उससे जानने से पहले we have a quotation. जैसा आप सभी ने पढ़ा है, जल है तो कल है, right? जल संरक्षण जरूरत भी है और कर्तव्य भी. Yes, it is very much self-explanatory. Importance of water. But should we read water as a resource in UPSC? Yes, definitely. We must read water as a resource in UPSC. So, hello and welcome to our NewsKase series, where we try to bring in the most relevant of the current news integrated with the static prelims as well as mains, right? And our topic for today is high cost of cheap water. Now, what is this high cost of cheap water all about? This we will see in a while, right? And what is the source of this particular news? So source is Da Hindu, Indian Express, Down to Earth, etc. And what is the relevance of this? So definitely this topic is very much relevant, be it GS paper 1, in which we have geography, GS paper 3, environment, ecology, disaster management, or be it geography optional. This is a very important topic, right? And are questions being asked in the past? Yes, definitely questions are being asked. In fact, 2023 इसी साल the question was, why is the world today confronted with a crisis of availability of and access to fresh water resources? So definitely water is a very important topic. And finally, we will see what are the key terms or what are the main answer sheet points, right? First things first, before starting this particular session, I would like to draw your attention towards the water as a resource कितना important है. Oftentimes students get confused कि sir कौन सा which topic is important and which is not. So what is the answer for this? How do we know what we are reading? Should we devote a proper time for that or not? उसका जवाब मिलता है हमें सिलेबस से, उसका जवाब मिलता है हमें PYQ से. So we will spend few minutes of our time so as to analyze water as a theme, right? तो 2023 इसी साल ये क्वेश्चन पूछा गया था. This we had seen. But 2015 GS paper 1, what was asked? India is well endowed with fresh water resources. Critically examine why it still suffers from water scarcity. 2016 GS paper 1, effective management of land and water resources will drastically reduce the human miseries. Again, the focus is on resources of land and water. 2016 itself, GS paper 1, in what way micro watershed development projects help in water conservation in drought prone and semi-arid regions of India. 2018 GS paper 1, the ideal solution of depleting groundwater resources in India is water harvesting system. How can it be made more effective in the urban areas? But the story does not end over here, right? These are only few questions which have focused upon fresh water resources, or for that matter, water as a resource. In fact, in year 2019, GS paper 1, what was being asked? What is water stress? How and why does it differ regionally in India? Then 2020, again GS paper 1, how will the melting of Himalayan glaciers have a far-reaching impact on the water resources of India? Thereafter, 2020 GS paper 1 itself, interlinking of rivers can provide viable solutions to multidimensional problems and interrelated problems of drought, floods and interrupted navigation. Critically examine. Finally, 2021, what we have? What are the environmental implications of reclamation of water bodies? why we had spent this time on reading the PYQs. We had spent this time so that you should know what is the importance of a particular theme. कोई भी theme कितनी important है. So I hope you have got an idea that water as a theme is extremely crucial. Or कोई भी theme, not only water as a theme, be it any theme, right? Be it the cyber crime of internal security, yeah, any other theme. What you should do is you should prepare your notes accordingly. You should make a proper page, और उस page के ऊपर आप क्या कीजिए, in 200 words write this, right? Try and write this water resource, or then you can create different points. क्योंकि 200 words को it is very easy to compress in 150 words, and 200 words को you can make it to 250 words, right? So let us see what is the context now. Why we are reading this? So the context is the recent report which has been released by WWF. And what is the name of the report? That is high cost of cheap water. It is talking about cost, right? The true value of water and freshwater ecosystems to people and planet. So in today's session, we will see what are the key findings of this particular report. So it was all across the board, be it down to earth. World Food Day 2023, water crisis is a threat, right? And it threatens $58 trillion in economic value, food security, says WWF report. Or this report say we can have some of the takeaways which we can write in our answers. आप सभी ने सुना होगा that we should have datas, facts, reports handy with us. क्योंकि जनरल स्टेटमेंट लिखने से वी वोंट बी गेटिंग गुड मार्क्स. भले से ही पेपर का नाम है GS, दैट इज जनरल स्टडीज, बट वी हैव टू बी स्पेसिफिक इन ऑर्डर टू गेट गुड मार्क्स, राइट? सो व्हाट आर द की फाइंडिंग्स ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर रिपोर्ट? सो इकोनॉमिक एंड एनवायरमेंटल challenges and water crisis, definitely it is one of the most pressing or challenging issues of our current times. So a global water crisis is mounting, posing a threat of, just now we had seen, $58 trillion. And do comment down, what is the GDP of India? What is the GDP of USA? Is more, right, in economic value then the direct economic significance of water resources. Then we have the indirect economic benefits, और direct जो water का benefit है, that is somewhere close to over 7 trillion annually. And you would be surprised to know the indirect economic benefits of water are over or around 50 trillion annually. And we will see what are the indirect benefits and what are the direct benefits of water usage. Then there is a mention of a term in this particular report, that is water blindness. Now do not get confused कि water blindness is related to some sort of disease. No, water blindness has been referred in this report as a lack of awareness, despite water being the lifeline, right? बिन पानी सब सून, बिना पानी nothing is possible, right? उसके बावजूद there is lack of awareness. So lack of awareness and understanding of the importance of water resources, and this has been referred as water blindness in this particular report. And finally, there is decline in ecological health, because healthy ecosystems, for healthy ecosystems, there should be proper conservation of water, and we will see that with proper datas. Like in the last, since 1970, we have lost almost 1/3 of our wetlands, and we have lost around 83% of the fresh water species that are found, right? So one by one, we will see what are the key findings. First things first, direct use value. Now water, it has got different usage. उसको आप लिख सकते हैं, it has got consumptive use and नॉन कंजम्पटिव यूज, कंजम्पशन कहाँ पे? कंजम्पशन इन एग्रीकल्चर, कंजम्पशन इन इंडस्ट्रीज, इन म्युनिसिपैलिटीज. डू वी हैव टू रिमेंबर ईच एंड एवरी डेटा? नो, नॉट रिक्वायर्ड. आपको सिंपली याद रखना है डायरेक्ट यूज वैल्यू ऑफ global value is, it is around $7 trillion. We had already seen this. And out of this direct value, which is that segment which account for the most usage of freshwater resources? That is nothing but your agriculture, right? That is your agriculture. So this is again a very important point which you can directly quote in your mains, or which you can quote during your interviews if it is being asked, right? So agriculture stands out as the largest water user, accounting for almost 70% of water extracted globally. ये विश्व में अगर 100 यूनिट्स वाटर की एक्सट्रैक्ट की जाती हैं तो अराउंड 70 यूनिट्स आर डिप्लॉयड टुवर्ड्स एग्रीकल्चर, राइट? Then we have indirect use value, and what is that? That is around 50 trillion US dollars annually. और indirect water का use is in biodiversity, in extreme weather, extreme event protection. We will see all of this, that if our water bodies are healthy, they would serve as buffer against extreme weather events like floods, right? अगर water bodies protected हैं, for example sand mining से अगर water bodies हमारी सुरक्षित हैं, तो they would make sure that we are not prone to floods, we are not prone to droughts, etc. Right? Biodiversity definitely depends upon water, but despite generating 7 times more value than the direct use, अभी देखा था direct use में $7 trillion, indirect $50 trillion, more than 7%, right? So despite generating 7 times more value than direct water use, the indirect benefits of freshwater ecosystems are chronically undervalued and overlooked. This is what we call your water blindness, lack of awareness, right? And the economic value is around 50 trillions annually. Now, we should ask ourselves, and rather it is given in the report itself, what are the key threats to our freshwater resources? The water as a resource, we have already seen itna important hai. Nearly every year we get questions from these. So what are the key threats? Now, the key threats include overexploitation of water. Now we should ask ourselves, why there is overexploitation? Overexploitation ka the biggest reason is agriculture. Just now we had seen around 70% of the water globally extracted is used or deployed in agricultural activities, right? So excessive use of freshwater resources, it can be rivers, lake, wetlands, aquifers, etc. Now what is important? Important is beyond their natural recharge capacity. In fact, एक बार पूछा भी था UPSC में, what do you mean by the ecological carrying capacity? Resources are required, but sustainable extraction is desired. Particularly by agriculture, it deteriorates the water quality, creates shortages, and obviously it disrupts freshwater flows, right? Thereafter, unsustainable sand mining, it contributes to erosion, definitely. और अगर erosion होगा, if there would be erosion, it would lead to what? It would lead to flow alterations. The course of the river or the water body, it may get altered, and if the water body ka course is altered, what would happen? Protection against extreme weather events would be lessened. We would be more prone, or we would be more vulnerable towards the disasters. While the overfishing, it destabilizes food chains and the ecosystems. So this is the first threat to the freshwater resources, over exploitation. Apart from that, climate change. Yes, definitely. Why climate change? Because climate change, it has severely impacted the hydrological cycle. And if hydrological cycle जो बचपन से हम पढ़ते आ रहे हैं, that there is evaporation, there is condensation, cloud formation, precipitation, वो सभी का सभी disturb हो रहा है because of climate change. And if it is disrupted, and now unfortunately this is not a question of if it is disrupted, actually it is highly disrupted. So it reduces the water availability, and if water availability is threatened, so there would be lowering of the quality as well as quantity of freshwater ecosystems, and which can definitely have an impact on the food securities throughout the world, right? Then another threat to our freshwater resources is water pollution. Now, why water is being polluted, or how water is being polluted? Water pollution ka, again, one of the reasons is the agricultural pesticides, fertilizers, industrial runoff, human discharge, etc. Right? When all of this untreated discharge, if this waste is being dumped without proper treatment, it can lead to harmful algal blooms. सभी ने आपने पढ़ा होगा about eutrophication, harmful algal blooms, eutrophication, dissolved oxygen से related है, right? And what happens? The life forms are threatened because there is depletion of oxygen, and it can create what? Biological dead zones. Again, biological dead zones was also your previous year question. In fact, it is often said that Pacific Ocean is turning out to be a biological desert, right? That is because of the gyres, that is because of the plastic pollution, etc. Right? And acid rain and pollution can acidify the freshwater bodies. Now, there are emerging threats also, right? Emerging threats like the threat of microplastics, the threat of engineered nano materials or particles. Light and noise pollutions are also increasing, and this problem of microplastics, it is extremely severe. In fact, there is a UN report which says by 2050 there would be more of plastic in the ocean than the fishes, right? And this microplastic, it is ingested by the organisms, और organism जब उसको ingest करते हैं, if humans also eat that or consume that seafood, so what would happen? Bioaccumulation, biomagnification would occur, right? And we have flow modification and fragmentation. So we are studying about the key threats to freshwater resources. Flow में modification और fragmentation कैसे होगा? कोई भी water body है. For example, if we create dams, the flow, it would be altered, right? So river divergence and infrastructure such as dams and weirs for hydropower, irrigation, and for other purposes, they would disrupt the natural flow, right? And function of the rivers. और उससे सबसे बड़ा issue is sedimentation, siltation, right? That is one major issue. And loss of connectivity, it would impede the movement of species. हमें ये सोचना चाहिए, in fact we should keep this thing in mind. Water, it is a resource. Yes, true, water is a very important resource for human, but water is life for many organisms. Water is habitat, water is home, water is all that a fish has or any other marine organism have, right? Water उनके लिए हमारे से भी ज़्यादा important है. And what we are doing as humans, what we are doing as humankind is we are polluting it, right? And if the movement of species If it is altered or restricted or hampered, it would lead to problems in reproduction or feeding or nesting or resting areas, right? And it can cause extinction of species, and we will see this. Actually, species have got extinct, and there are certain other threats with regards to freshwater resources. Other threats include destruction or degradation of the habitat, right? Just now we had talked about this loss of freshwater habitats and land use changes around the water bodies. They can contribute to the biodiversity loss, and they can cause decline in the ecosystem services. When we read environment ecology, uske starting mein there are certain ecosystem services. Ecosystem services can be regulating, right? They can be provisional, they can be cultural, etc. 2013 में यही prelims का भी क्वेश्चन पूछा गया था, right? Then we have the threat of invasive species, right? Spread of non-native species, it can be accelerated, and if non-native or the invasive species is there, it can definitely impact the entire food chain or entire food web, and it can lead to again biodiversity loss. Salt water intrusion, it is also a threat to freshwater resources. Now how this salt water intrusion is a threat, इसको थोड़ा सा समझिए. What is happening because of climate change? Sea level is rising, right? So if sea level is rising, what would happen? There would be storm surges, etc. So sea water जो है, it would come on the coastal plains, coastal areas. Coastal areas का जो fertile land है, उस पे अगर sea water आया, saline water आया, it would make the soils infertile. और जो saline water होगा, that would make the fertile land infertile. Or definitely it would threaten your food security. So intrusion, it increases drinking water salinity, harms the wildlife, and reduces the crop yields. So everything is related. Thereafter, infectious diseases. Why infectious diseases? If pollution is there, if there are invasive species, and if there is warming of water bodies, so it would create what? It would create spreading of the diseases, impacting the pollutions and the populations and human health. So I hope this is clear. What are the key threats? Now, finally, we need to take action, and it is everyone has a role to play, right, in tackling the world's freshwater crisis. But real progress कैसे होगा? Real progress depends upon urgent action by key stakeholders, right? Key stakeholders. Now, it should come to your mind, what are the key stakeholders with regards to water as a resource? We will see this. And who are the levers of change? क्योंकि अभी हमने देखा water is very important. And what are the threats to freshwater resources? Now we should move to what is the solution, or what are the recommendations that have been given or provided by this WWF ka report, which we are studying. So there are stakeholders like local, national, and transboundary policy makers, civil society organization, business and finance leaders. They need to wake up to water risk and mobilize around fundamentally changing the way the world values and invest in water and freshwater ecosystem. इसी को आप in diagrammatic or flow chart में represent कर सकते हैं, wherein you can mention stakeholders. उसमें you can mention different stakeholders like local, national, transnational policy makers, civil society organization, businesses, right? Finance institutions. What can an individual do? Or uske andar you can write or mention different points. We will see all of this, right? And who are the levers of change? Water governance, water stewardship, or finance for adaptation, public engagement, everything is being required. So one by one, we will talk or touch upon this stakeholders, because these have been provided as a recommendation by the report itself. So governments and the policy makers at local, national, regional level, including transboundary river basin authorities should, because rivers does not know that river को कोई visa passport नहीं चाहिए to cross a particular country or a region, right? So international collaboration definitely is required. Riparian states में there should be cooperation, collaboration, right? So there are a number of points. Now, the scope for answer writing in the examination is only 150 to 250 words. So we will see and we will select what are the keywords, or अगर कोई report है, recommendation है, so how to choose the keywords, right? So first things first, restore and protect vital freshwater ecosystem. Now there is a about CBD. You must have read about CBD in environment ecology, Convention on Biological Diversity, 30 by 30 framework. What is 30 by 30 framework? That by year 2030, we need to protect at least 30% of the land, water, etc. Right? So commit to revitalizing 30% of degraded rivers and wetlands worldwide by 2030. Right? Develop ambitious targets. So आप रिकमेंडेशन से समझने की कोशिश कीजिए. अगर आपने नहीं भी पढ़ा a particular report, then how do you think in the actual examination? क्या पॉइंट्स होने चाहिए? कोई भी प्रॉब्लम है, forget about water pollution, forget about water resource, treat any problem. There would be certain points which would be common. Points like there should be policy support, there should be laws. सिर्फ लॉस से बात नहीं बनेगी. देयर शुड बी प्रॉपर पब्लिक अवेयरनेस और एंगेजमेंट. पब्लिक अवेयरनेस एंगेजमेंट डेफिनेटली इज रिक्वायर्ड, बट economic viability or finance is extremely crucial for success of any project, right? So we will see all of this. Then integrate river and water resource management systems, which collaboration, coordination across the sectors, across the borders, right? And the factor in health. Thereafter, implement adaptable water allocation. Design flexible, locally tailored water allocation system. Now, this is a very crucial point, because majority of the major rivers in India itself, India के अंदर ही आप देखेंगे that we have number of water disputes, right? So there should be fair, sustainable distribution of water across the sectors while safeguarding the ecosystem health, because that is also important. Sustainably manage and protect groundwater resources. In fact, India is the largest groundwater extractor in the world. Be it the UNESCO का 2018 का report, या be it 2023-22 का report of United Nations, which has clearly stated India is the largest groundwater extractor, right? And this was there in prelims also. This was asked in prelims itself. Because what is important is aquifer recharge is important. It is all a play between demand and supply. What is sustainable development? It is all about we are able to meet today's demands without compromising the future needs, right? Then invest in natural water storage through nature-based solution. Now this is one of the keywords. Nature-based solution, right? Nature-based solution ka example is, one of the examples is mangroves. So you please read about this nature-based solution, and you can comment also that what do you mean by nature-based solution, right? What do we mean by nature-based solution? And end harmful subsidies. So eliminate counterproductive subsidies and foster incentives that promote sustainable water use, particularly in water intensive sectors like agriculture and energy. Definitely there has to be proper focus upon agroclimatic zones also, because regions like Punjab or Haryana, etc., are not geographically suited naturally when it comes to growth of rice, etc. But this has been one of the disadvantages with regards to your green revolution. Definitely, because of green revolution, there has been a prosperity, and it is very good for the farmers' income. But important to remember is we have got environmental implications. Not only environmental implications, we are having serious troubles with regards to the human health. It's very unfortunate that incidents of cancer are increasing in states like Punjab, etc. उसका रीजन क्या है? That we are extracting more and more of groundwater, और उसकी वजह से क्या हो रहा है? Heavy metals, they are coming up. Fine with this? Thereafter, so there has to be interlinkages between water and the sustainable development goals also. क्योंकि कोई भी wetland अगर healthy होगा, then only our economy can prosper, then only our society can prosper, and then only the ecosystem can prosper, right? So this report talks about the economies, right? And what is important to remember? Important to remember is that we need to find ways to decouple economic prosperity from over exploitation, right? We need to de-link these things, we need to decouple these things. Or economy से related, what are the SDGs? So SDGs are SDG number 7, SDG number 8, it talks about economies. Also SDG number 9 talks about industry, and SDG number 12, it talks about responsible consumption, right, and production. Then talking about societies, so resilience of our society relies on healthy freshwater ecosystems. And what are the SDGs with regards to societies? SDGs are no poverty, zero hunger, good health, and of course quality education. These all are related to societies. Moreover, gender equality, affordable and clean energy, because water, again, a source of clean energy. Sustainable cities and communities, पीस जस्टिस एंड स्ट्रॉन्ग इंस्टीट्यूशन. अब आप सोच सकते हैं पीस और जस्टिस का क्या रिलेशन है वाटर के साथ में. सो to give you a perspective, water is extremely crucial. If you don't have proper water resources, then food production or the crop yields, they would go down, and when there would be droughts, when there would be famines, that leads to food rights. और यही यूपीएससी ने कई बार पूछा है, which of the following countries has problems of acute malnutrition, civil strife? That was South Sudan, Yemen. Poverty anywhere is a threat to prosperity everywhere. This was a topic of essay writing, right? And then finally, safeguarding the freshwater ecosystem is vital for climate action. That is SDG number 13, life below water. SDG number 14, life on land. SDG number 15. Everything is interrelated, right? And clean water and sanitation definitely is a very crucial SDG, right? Then only we can have healthy rivers, lakes, and aquifers, wetlands, etc. And they would ensure that we have proper economies, societies, and ecosystem in sync. And very important, everything is possible with the help of partnerships. And that is your SDG number 17, right? Thereafter, what should the industry and business should do? So industries, they should develop transformative water strategies which can provide guidance Then increase and disclose water risk assessment. Invest in enhancing efficiency and reducing pollution and considering allocation. If you have paid attention, जो भी recommendations हैं, that is a part of the problem itself. Problem से ही solution निकलता है. Problem क्या था? Problem was pollution. तो recommendation में क्या आया है? That we need to reduce pollution. Problem क्या है? Problem is water blindness. There is lack of awareness. Solution क्या है? That we should have more of awareness. We should invest more, right? Increase collective action for resilience and advocate for change. Here you can mention about the corporate social responsibility, right? So I hope these recommendations are clear. Now you can link different subjects. Now this is a topic which is related to environment, ecology, geography, but इसको आप GS paper 2 governance में भी use कर सकते हैं, because there is a term by the name of pressure groups, right? Quality governance में पढ़ते हैं pressure groups के बारे में. So companies, they should use their significant power and influence to call on governments to create foundations for new sustainable approach for water and freshwater ecosystem. तो प्रेशर ग्रुप्स को यहाँ पे प्रेशर एक्सर्ट करना चाहिए in the right manner, right? Financial institution, what should they do? Then they can dedicate 50% of public climate finance to adaptation. Now this is as per WWF ka report, right? Then reduce water related financial risks. Again talking about the investment part, climate proof insurance, and assess water related financial risk. So what are the takeaways? Takeaways are investments. Takeaways is awareness. Takeaway is your legislation part, civil society organization. So raising of awareness. Pressure governments, corporations, financial institutions to tackle the water challenges. So यहाँ पे you can mention about the pressure groups, right? And finally, what we can do as individuals. So we can do lot of things, like we can educate ourselves, we can educate others, and make them appreciate the importance of water as a resource. Raise awareness about worsening water scarcity, floods and pollution, and what is the importance or significance of healthy freshwater ecosystems. आप सोच के देखिए, if we have a problem with regards to the drainage, then there are a lot of issues. पूरे के पूरे गांव, पूरे के पूरे शहर, कई बार ऐसा देखा गया है that the entire village has got dysentery. क्यों? Because the water pipe, जो water pipe supply होता है for drinking purposes, वहां पे लीकेज था, वहां पे प्रॉब्लम था, और पूरा का पूरा गांव, right, it was severely impacted. So everything is related, and embracing the mindful consumption, right? Now this consumption part, it is SDG number 12, supporting conservation. We should participate in local cleanup and restoration effort. We should not pollute the environment, and championing water stewardship at work also, and advocating for change. So these are the recommendations which have been provided by the report. High cost of cheap water. Direct water use का कितना cost था? 7 trillion. Indirect water use over $50 trillion, right? So what are the answer sheet points that you should carry with you? क्योंकि आप सभी ने सुना है कि कुछ ना कुछ डेटा फैक्ट हमेशा we should have with us. So protecting and restoring the water bodies is essential for the future sustainability of societies, economies and ecosystems, right? And finally, as of 2020, approximately 26% of world population still lacked access to safely manage drinking water. This is a big challenge that in today's date and time era, where we have touched the moon, but still we are facing problem in supplying fresh water resource, fresh water, potable drinking water to our masses. And what is the data? So you can very well take down this data. Also, what about the ecosystems? Because biodiversity के लिए water उनकी जिंदगी है, उनका घर है, right? So what we have done is we have already lost 1/3 of the world's remaining wetlands in the past 50 years. 1970 से 1/3 we have lost, right? So we need to arrest this, and because of that, what has happened? Freshwater species population have collapsed by 83% on an average over this time period. So these data can come in handy while writing answer for such questions. So finally, leaving you with a food for thought, that is, we never know the worth of water till the well is dry. So do think over it, and not only think over it, to try and protect or conserve water at the individual level itself. So that is it for today. Thank you so much and have a good time.